All right, so here I am. It's part 3. I know I've told you I'm moving along on this. This is my escape series of escaping out of the Church of Scientology. And it was so exciting during that time. So much was going on. Just like I can't even explain how excited I was. But part of this, I want to let you know, you never know what you might say that could literally change somebody's life forever. I mean, look what happened with Andreas. I mean, that was awesome. But somebody else, even before that, and I don't know who it was, but you have to understand in Scientology, because I have epilepsy, which is a chronic illness, people were always sort of treating me like I was, nearly suppressive. I was definitely PTS, blah, 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 right? So I always felt bad. People would always be asking me, have you handled epilepsy yet? Have you fixed epilepsy? Are you still on that medication? And everybody was sort of like, they're better than you are. You're not quite as good as they are. It was a nightmare for me. It really was. So I always felt like I was swimming up. I mean, imagine swimming up Niagara Falls. That's how I felt. I was like swimming up Niagara Falls, right? Trying to say, no, I'm not suppressive. I'm really okay. I'm really an okay person, right? Okay, so now I'm going through this thing where I'm posting on ARS in 2000. I started in the end of June, after my birthday, June 27th, and continued on until I woke up and escaped out. I mean, I didn't go on it knowing I was going to wake up. I don't know what I was doing. I think in my subconscious, I thought, if I hang on with these guys enough, maybe something will change, right? I mean, it was a mess for me in the Church of Scientology. You have to know that. I'd been on OT7 for 7 years. It didn't work. From day one, it didn't work. From day one, I said, where's the Barry Klein rundown? Where is it? Because Barry Klein had been going around the Church of Scientology saying he could heal people. So I thought, okay, I know what 7 is. You can heal people. And that was great with me. I mean, that was great, right? So now I get on it, and there's nothing about it. It's just all about OT3 and more of Xenu and BTs and clusters and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, come on. Where's the stuff about healing? And they're like, well, you haven't done part C yet. So now I get in, and you have to, literally, it's really, people wonder how you do this, but it's so intense when you're trying to get on these levels. It's like you have to get invited, and you have to prove that you're really ready for it, and you're the person, and that kind of thing, right? So finally, I get my invitation into Part A, and remember, I had to fight the entire flag land base because of the medical issue. So I had sent my folders up to RTC. Everybody had gotten corrected on it. They wrote a bulletin on medicine about, with me as the first example, saying if your doctor says you need to take medication and everybody agrees it's okay, then it's okay. Let the person take their medication and get auditing, which Dr. Dank, bless his heart, who's now passed away, but and I say that because he helped me. He may have not helped other people, but he helped me. He got me my medication for years and said, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? It was just like, he was Hubbard's doctor. And anyway, I thankfully, because I told you my father died when I was 22. And I was the only person that knew that man that had written him everything from my heart before he passed away. And so I always say to people, tell people how you feel, because you never know when this is going to be the last day you can say to that person you love that you love them. You know what I mean? Or whatever you want to say to him. I told my dad all kinds of stuff. I was sorry for all the creepy things I'd done and all my goals. And, it was just like a wonderful thing that I had done that. So now I forgot where I am. Damn, that's one of the worst things that happened to me from having all these grand mal seizures, which I had when they made me get off my medicine. Because I lost my short-term memory. So I'm constantly forgetting things, which is very irritating. But I do have a good long-term memory. So there you go on that. So, all right, what was I talking about? I forget. Let's see. Let me think. It'll come back to me. It will. Anyway, I'm telling you about... Okay, I remember it now. So, how exciting it was and how you never know when you can change somebody's life. All right, so here's the change. I'm terrified of being declared suppressive, right? And finally, on ARS, somebody posts Magoo, Honorary SP3. And I'm like, no way. And I get on the computer and I type, thank you very much, but we can't accept that, blah, blah, blah. Best wishes, Magoo, right? And now I'm vacuuming around my house and I'm thinking, Honorary SP3. Honorary SP3. And all of a sudden, what the critics had been doing, and the critics are the people that were never in Scientology, but they've researched it and they kind of made websites about it and often made jokes about certain things. And, you know, it was like the SP thing they were always kidding about. And I thought, Honorary SP3. And it just had a whole different ring to it than the Church of Scientology is your declared suppressor. You know what I mean? And at first I said, no, I can't accept it. But by the end of the night, I got on the computer and said, we can accept your Honorary SP3. Clear. Now, to most of you, that's not going to mean that much. But to me, even Scientologists, it may not mean that much. But to me, having spent 30 years fighting this whole thing, and I'm not really this, I'm really that, and it was such a wonderful thing for me to finally be Honorary SP3, right? So that was a huge change. So you never know when you can change someone's life. It's just one little thing, right? Because that was huge for me. The other thing is they had, moving forward, you know, I was talking about how I got into Scientology, Now I'm I'm working for OSA, helping them as a volunteer, not as staff, but as a volunteer, off and on, doing different things. I was working, I was a mom, I was a wife, I was doing all kinds of things. But one of the things was helping them when they needed help, right? At least I thought. I thought I was helping the Church of Scientology until I got into this top secret mafia and started opening up these phony accounts with my auditor who tricked me into it, right? And from there, I started seeing the dark side of Scientology. Not totally. I had for years said there's no fair game. They don't do fair game. They canceled it, which Hubbard had written a cancellation of it. But the Church of Scientology definitely does fair game. And I didn't find out about it. I'll tell you that later in the future. But anyway, during this time, right in 2000, the vice president of the Church of Scientology had called me and said, we need you to come help us. We're going to start a group handling black PR about L. Ron Hubbard and the church, and we need you to come over. So I went over there just to give them ideas. It was a guy who was a writer. He was going to start this little group to handle any black PR. Well, they went around the room, what have you done? What have you done? And I had done a plethora of stuff that they felt was really important. So they said, okay, the vice president said, okay, you're the ED, executive director. I said, I don't want to be the executive director. I said, I don't care, you are. And your first job is to get David Miscavige off of A&E. And she showed us this little preview they were going to have of cults and the Church of Scientology with Miscavige in the middle. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm Tori Bazazian at the time, married, living in Burbank. How am I going to get off of A&E? I don't know anybody. Do you know what I mean? I know the people in the church. That's it. And she said, start emailing them, call them, do whatever you have to do. You've got 24 hours to get it off of the TV show. That was pretty intense. So I'm like, okay, I'm like sending my email. This is religious bigotry and blah, blah, blah. And we're not a cult. And David Miscavige is such a great guy and all this stuff. And get it off your TV show or else, whatever. Anyway, long story short, she calls me up the next day. Okay, Tori, get over here. And I think, uh-oh, I'm in big trouble now. And it was me and about 4 other people that were working on this thing. But I was like the executive director. So I go over there. Now, this is really funny because you have to remember, you guys know, I was posting on ARS during that time, right? All day, all night. I made the 4,000 posts in 4 weeks, right around now, right? So I go over there, and this actually happened a little bit before with the A&E thing, and I go over there to see what happened, and she shows the thing, and they'd taken it off. And it was like, wow. And so that's what gave me, I did that and a few other things. So that's what gave me the awareness that anybody can literally change these corporations. I mean, I didn't realize that. But that's why when, I told you about Battlefield Earth, and I was on there posting on their little message board, and they had all this stuff against Scientology. So I called up Warner Brothers and said, I'm a fan, I'm a mom, I live here in Burbank, you've got all this stuff against Scientology, I want you to take down the message board. And, I'm in sales, so I knew how to get through to the right person, right? So I get through to this person, and they go, okay, we'll let him know. And I think, okay, nothing's going to happen. And the next day, the president of Time Warner called me up and said, this is Dick so-and-so from New York, Time Warner, and we got your message, and we're taking down the message board of Battlefield Earth. You're right. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty hot. So that was what got me to go on to ARS, thinking, well, if I can get the message board to go down, and like I said, that was like 20 people on it, and I thought the internet was 50 people. So I thought, well, if I can get the 20 off of it, I can probably get the 50 people. So there's that, and the final thing I'm going to tell you is while I was walking around the complex during this time, if you haven't seen Pleasantville, watch it, because that was me. It's all in black and white, and as people start waking up, they turn different colors. And I swear to God, as I'm walking around, I just felt like everyone in Scientology was in black and white. And I was like turning into color. It was so weird. It was so very, very freaky. But wonderful in a very good way. But here I am on the internet, all day and night talking to these critics, right? So the vice president says to me, we need you to get back on this Scientology Parishioners League. And I said, well, you know what? I'm actually working on an internet project. And I'm thinking she's going to grill me on it, right? And she goes like this, okay, don't say another word. That's it. Okay, I understand. That's fine. We'll see. Let us know when you can. Scientology. Anyway, there you go. That's my part 3 of it. I got to roll. I'm going off to Weight Watchers. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.